European countries are a popular choice for immigrants from all over the world. There are few places on the planet that can match the continent's opportunities and standard of living. Not all glitters, however, is gold, as the adage goes. Immigrants, particularly those from Africa, put in so much effort to get there that they quickly learn it's a whole different world than the one they were warned about. On their way to Europe, some of these immigrants crossed through Tunisia and Egypt. Many people are unaware that these African countries have some of the lowest living costs in the world. Norway and Switzerland, on the other hand, are the world's third and fourth most expensive countries to live in, respectively, along with the majority of European countries. African countries may not have the same chances and comfort as Europe, but they do have a lower cost of living. 2 of the 10 countries with the lowest cost of living in the world are in Africa, and all 10 are developing countries. Now, here are 10 cheapest countries to live in Africa. Number 10. Kenya. Kenya is Africa's 10th cheapest country to live in. The country has a 39.26 cost of living index. Kenya is still quite inexpensive despite the fact that your lifestyle and choice of commodities and amenities may affect your cost. The country is 45% less expensive than the United States, while Nairobi, the country's largest metropolis, is 50% less expensive than London. The average monthly cost of living in Kenya is between $700 and $2,500. Number 9. Zambia. Second to the last in our list of top cheapest countries to live in Africa is Zambia. Zambia is Africa's least expensive country, ranking 9th with a CDI of 35.59. The Southern African country is considered one of Africa's most beautiful, hospitable, diverse, and unspoiled country. Although the country's cost of living is higher than those of its neighbors, it remains one of the world's most affordable countries. Zambia imports the majority of its products from its neighbors, making them much more expensive. The average cost of living in the country ranges from $600 to $1,200 per month, depending on family size and lifestyle. Number 8. Tanzania. Tanzania is the 8th cheapest country to live in Africa with a CDI of 35.07. The country in East Africa is home to some of Africa's most beautiful game reserves, as well as the continent's tallest peak. The cost of living in Tanzania varies, with Dar es Salaam, the country's largest city, having a higher cost of living than the rest of the country. Tanzania, on the other hand, is still a reasonable priced country. The cost of living in the country could range from $700 to $1,800 per month. Number 7. Morocco. The 7th country on our top cheapest countries in Africa is Morocco. Officially known as the Kingdom of Morocco, does not only have some of the best living conditions in Africa, but it also does so at a low cost. Morocco has a cost of living index of 34.59, making it one of the cheapest locations to live on the planet. This tranquil and lovely country is one of Africa's wealthiest and boasts some of the continent's most breathtaking sceneries. While the cost of commodities such as lodging, transportation, and utilities vary by cities, eating is often inexpensive. Number 6. Rwanda. Rwanda, called the Singapore of Africa, is one of the continent's fastest growing economies with a CDI of 34.01. The East African country is the continent's 6th cheapest country to live in Africa with an annual growth rate of 8.7%. The little country boasts the fastest growing economy in Africa and the second fastest in the world. Number 5. Nigeria. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy and second wealthiest country, is Africa's 5th cheapest country to live in Africa. The rest of the country, outside of the usual playground for the wealthy in areas of Lagos and Abuja, has a cheap cost of living. Because more than half of the country's population live in abject poverty, the government has had to subsidize the cost of several basic goods. Nigeria's CDI is 31.75, making it one of the cheapest places to live on the planet. Number 4. Uganda. The little country in Central Africa is known as the Pearl of Africa. The country's nickname comes from the numerous bodies of water that line its borders. Despite its beauty, Uganda remains one of Africa's most affordable countries to live in Africa. With a CDI of 31.72, the country is the 4th cheapest country to live in Africa. Number 3. Algeria. Here is Algeria at the top 3 of our list of cheapest countries to live in Africa. The country is officially known as the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. Algeria is the largest country on the African continent and the 10th largest country in the world. The country is known for producing some of the world's greatest dates. Algeria is the 3rd cheapest country to live in Africa. A CDI of 30.54 has been assigned to it. Algeria is one of only a few countries in the world that has reduced poverty by 20% in the last 2 decades. The Algerian government has taken great steps to enhance the lives of its citizens by enacting social policies that are in accordance with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Algeria's oil boom has allowed the government to service the country's external debt, investing in infrastructure, and enhance the country's human development indicators. In addition, the country provides free health care to its inhabitants. Number 2. Egypt. Amongst top countries to live in Africa, given its vast tourism sector, Egypt may not strike you as a cheap destination. Egypt is a place that appeals to both adventurers and history buffs. It has natural beauty, ancient temples and tombs, as well as some of the world's most magnificent wonders. The CDI of this North African country is 29.09. Aside from the inexpensive cost of living, real estate investment opportunities are gaining popularity. This has resulted in a real estate boom in Egypt. Housing, on the other hand, is relatively inexpensive in the country. Number 1. Tunisia. Here, we have the first country amongst top cheapest countries to live in Africa. Finally, we arrive in Africa's most affordable destination. Tunisia is a small, gorgeous Mediterranean country. The country is the cheapest in Africa and the 5th cheapest in the world. Tunisia's CDI is 25.43 with a population of 11 million people. Food and housing are quite inexpensive in the nation, and it is 94 times less expensive to live in than New York. That is all there is to it. The cheapest countries to live in Africa. Do you live in or have you traveled to any of these countries? If you have, please leave a comment below with your thoughts on cost and expenses in any of the countries. If you haven't, tell us what are your expectations and your dreams traveling to any of these countries.